Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are promising massive spending cuts as they lead President-elect Trump's new Department of Government Efficiency. Musk says he wants to cut $2 trillion in spending, while Ramaswamy says some government agencies could be, quote, deleted outright. Now, that could spell trouble for some Biden administration initiatives like the Capital Readiness Program. It was created to help minority and other underserved entrepreneurs grow and scale their businesses, and it received a historic $125 million investment under the Biden administration. So what happens now? I want to bring in the Deputy Undersecretary of Commerce for Minority Business Development, Eric Morrissette, for more on this. Eric, thanks so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
What can you tell us about this program and how it aims to help business owners?
Well, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for elevating this conversation. So as you noted, the Capital Readiness Program is a part of a much larger program that exists within the federal government. We have received $125 million to help provide technical assistance to minority businesses and small businesses around the country. But it's part of a $10 billion capital infusion by the Biden-Harris administration through the Department of Treasury. There are 50 lines of capital available to minority businesses. This technical assistance program is aimed to help them get access to that capital and all forms of capital that exist for them. We know as an agency and as a country that capital access is the binding constraint that prevents minority businesses from growing and scaling. And if we really want to see the kind of growth that our country needs, we need to make sure that this kind of investment is not only continuing to be championed, but is scaled at pace to truly allow for that kind of great growth for minority business in America.
How concerned are you that the Department of Government Efficiency could terminate your role and cancel programs like this altogether?
Yeah, well, I think that I'm not particularly fearful of others coming to undo what we've already done, in part because the Minority Business Development Agency is a federally codified agency in the United States government. It would take an act of Congress to undo that line of business and that line of effort. And the program itself was a part of a well-thought-out effort to ensure that minority businesses in this country receive their fair share of capital access. I know this because I helped draft the legislation along with a number of members of Congress and those who understand the true national security implications of trying to undo something like this. I say national security because minority businesses in this country, underserved people in this country, represent a 8.3, I believe, trillion unrealized GDP output for our country, which is over 1/3 of the GDP output of our country. So this infusion of capital that we've provided as an administration is aimed at closing that gap that exists within our country. And if if others are seeking to undo that, one would take an act of Congress, but also shows, I think, an interest of undermining the national security of our country and the competitiveness of our entrepreneurs.
And I know the Capital Readiness Program is funded through the next 3 years. You say they can't undo that, but is it possible for the Trump administration to redirect that funding elsewhere? So
the funding through the Capital Readiness Program is front-loaded to those awardees. This is something that we thought would be important in terms of allowing them to grow and scale and provide technical assistance, that free technical assistance to those who need capital. There's always a way to find some way to do something, but I believe the way that the program is designed, it would take another act of Congress or some really concerted effort, and I'm hard-pressed to think of how they would do that effectively.
Now, critics say programs like this are too woke and that the government shouldn't be discriminating and giving preference and extra help to minority businesses over other entrepreneurs. What's your response to that?
I think that if we look at who passed the Minority Business Development Act and the founding of this agency, the Minority Business Development Agency, we're not talking about woke or unwoke here. We're talking about people who care about the growth and economic competitiveness of this country. Like MBDA as an agency was founded 55 years ago as a temporary agency by the Nixon administration. It was passed in a broad bipartisan consensus by both Republicans and Democrats. This is not a political issue at all. It's a matter of national competitiveness. It's a matter of national security. It's a matter of making sure that our MBEs, the minority business ecosystem in our country, are receiving a level playing field. What I would say as a person of color who is coming from an experience all my own is that I'm not looking for, and neither of the people that I'm serving, a handout. We're looking at a fair shot at access to capital, opportunity to grow and create wealth for ourselves, our family, and this country. That's not a handout. That's not woke. That's just what the American dream is made of.
All right. Deputy Undersecretary of Commerce for Minority Business Development, Eric Morrissette, we appreciate you coming in. Thank you.
Thank you so much.